from yesterday. So yesterday we talked about the 4 horsemen of fear. We talked about the fear of failure, the fear of ridicule, the fear of uncertainty, and the fear of success. And we went through all of those, talked about how to plan for those, how to think about them, how to overcome them, and then to dove into really how to prepare ourselves and have the tools for that. I posted the full length on all of these platforms now, so you can watch all of it as one long thing, or I also posted it as individual things. So if you just want to focus on the fear of uncertainty or the fear of success, you can just look at that segment there. And I hope you will go back and watch the entire thing if you've not done so yet. I think you'll get a lot out of that. I believe yesterday was the most important part of what we're going to do with this entire thing. So who was here yesterday, just type me into the chat for me. I want to hear who was able to catch at least part of it yesterday. But let's go on and start with the overview of today, and that's going to be, we're going to talk about picking the dates. We're going to focus very much on Disney today, but all of this stuff that we're going to talk about, I'm using Disney as the example, but all of it's going to be able to be used really in whatever situation you want, whatever works for you. So we're going to talk about picking dates, choosing the right hotel, budgeting, savings, because I know money is a big issue for a lot of you, packing, travel agents, the perfect schedule that I go by, that special offer that I mentioned yesterday, and then the big one that a lot of you are worried about, flying while fat. And I'll go through all of how I do that and what I use to make sure to fly comfortably every time. So I'm going to be speaking a lot from my own experience. Again, I am a single guy without kids, so I'm going to try to speak to you from a perspective that you may also have and share different examples, but just realize that my experience is not your experience, and the things that work for me may not work for you, but I'm going to try to put myself in your shoes and this consideration as much as possible. And this is an overview. We're not going to dive into every possible thing that works for your situation, right? So this is more, we have to speak in generalities to get through this. So thank you guys. Ashley, can you hear me now? I just saw your comment. There's somebody that's always like, can you ride roller coasters? I'm like, I do ride roller coasters when I fit. I try all the rides. Anyway, let's go into picking the dates. Can somebody confirm in Facebook y'all can hear now? And please share this into the groups and everything. All right, thanks, Brian. I appreciate you. I wanted to make sure. All right, so picking the dates. Now, for some of you, this is picked for you. You can only get off a certain time. There's only 1 week or 2 weeks that you've got to choose between to make that decision. So I understand that. If you work a specific job that's the only time you can go, that's when you've got to go. But here are some things that if you have some options that you may want to consider. What do the crowds look like? What's going on at the parks? How busy is it? Now here's an interesting thing. Really, ever since 2020, I'm trying to make sure I use proper words here, not to get in trouble. 2020, the crowds have been very odd. I don't know if we know what the real schedule is yet, because we had that big boom when everything opened up and people were able to come again, and now I think that's kind of fading off, and we're actually seeing a lot of discounts for June, which is extremely unusual. This is usually a really peak season for Disney, so we're seeing a bunch of that. Thank you for the likes, thank you for the shares, by the way, guys. Keep doing that, keep sharing and inviting so we can get some more people in here. And so the crowd times are very hard to tell. The times it's going to be pretty busy, typically later in the summer. October is busy because a lot of people come for Halloween. Spring break is ridiculous. If you can avoid coming during spring break, I would. Any holiday is going to be very busy. And then you've got all of Christmas break, pretty much. The one time during Christmas, if that's the time you want to come during the holidays, is after the week after Thanksgiving. So if you go really around my birthday, if you go like after the week, you've got the weekend after Thanksgiving, and then the week after that, it slows down a little bit before everybody's out of school, and that picks up a lot. So that's a good time if you want to come for Christmas. It's also my favorite time because it's cooler. You can avoid, which is the next thing, the heat. As big folks, we all know that heat is not our friends. It's a little bit tough to be out there. We got to take it a little bit slower. We got to drink a lot more water, all that stuff. Check what events are going on. Do not go, if you can avoid it, don't go during a Run Disney event. Unless you're going to the Run Disney event. That is a crazy time in the parks. What about the parties? Do you want to go to a party? Do you want to schedule your thing or your travel around Mickey's Not So Scary or the Christmas party? What do you want to do? I'm trying right now to schedule my next Disneyland trip around Oogie Boogie because I want to go to the parks and see that. So do you want to go to a party? By the way, if you go to a party and you can make that one of your park days. So you can get into the park at 4 o'clock on the day if you have a ticket, or if you have the party pass. And again, this can change, but typically you can get in at 4 o'clock and then stay until whenever the party's over. So you can take like the morning off and not buy an extra ticket, or you can buy a ticket for that park that day, because a lot of people don't spend their park day there, and the parks are actually a lot slower. So as an annual pass holder, if I know there's a party going on and I'm in town, that's going to be the park I start at for the day, because it's going to be pretty slow during the day, which is usually Magic Kingdom. So, and then festivals. What festivals do you want to go to? There's 4 main festivals, all at Epcot. That is Festival of the Arts, which is January to April-ish. And that's the spring, pretty much the spring festival. And then you have Flower and Garden starting, it's starting spring to summer. And then you have Food and Wine, which is now the longest festival. And then around Thanksgiving to Christmas till New Year's, you have Festival of the Holidays. All have something different to offer. I love the storytellers at the Festival of the Holidays. That's my favorite thing. Plus the Animal Kingdom stuff and all the puppets and everything they bring out for the holidays. But I also will say I love the gardens. The gardens are gorgeous, and then the art for farts, we call it farts, is great. So there's a lot of different events, a lot of different festivals to go to. Know which one that piques your interest the most, and try to plan around that perhaps. Now going into choosing your hotel, and most of this should apply to Disneyland. They don't really have the festivals, but definitely have Run Disney as well. But they have some small festivals, but I don't think it affects them the way it does Disney World. They are very much, again, they're a locals park, so a lot of the stuff their crowd levels are just going to be different in general. But choosing your hotel, you need to decide, are you an on-site person or an off-site person? Really, what matters to you? I am typically an off-site person, and I'll tell you why. I'm a Marriott person. The only time I've stayed on property is I had bonus points when I got my Marriott card, and it was 180,000 points, but I stayed for a week at the Swan Reserve right when it opened. I think that's now like 260,000 points or so, or more, if you can find it when points are available. But the Swan and Dolphin and the Swan Reserve are all Marriotts. So I stayed at that because I wanted to use my points, and that's the only time I have stayed on property. Again, I'm a single person, so what matters to me is going to be different than what matters to other people. I don't mind staying right outside the parks typically. I can usually get enough savings that if I have to get an Uber, it makes sense for me to park outside and then Uber in, and I'll still save more money than going to the parks directly. So do you want to stay on site or do you want to stay off site? Extra hours. Do you want those elite? Do you want the most expensive hotels? All of the on-site properties, you're going to get 30 extra minutes. Any of the higher level deluxe properties, you're going to get usually there's 2 extra hours a night at 2 different parks a week. So I think it's Monday and Wednesday you get 2 extra hours of magic hours. So you can be there, and the park is much more dead even than during the party. So that's a great time to ride a bunch of rides. Now I will tell you, when I stayed on property, that sounds like a great idea until you realize how tired you are by the time it gets that late. I don't think either of the nights I had available I was actually able to do that. So if you're somebody, you're going to get up and you're going to go and you're going to take those extra 30 minutes before the park and you think you're going to be able to go the entire time, be careful. You probably won't. If I did it again, as now that I'm much more used to Disney, I've gone a lot more, I would be more comfortable just taking a break during the day if I was going to do that and then go back later at night. Especially if I had a hotel really close to whatever property I was going to. Again, that property happened to be very close to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. It's right near the boardwalk, if you don't know where they are. And then, what amenities are important to you? Some people I see, they will pay for these deluxe hotels, but then they don't actually spend any time in the hotels. Like, they're there to sleep, and then they wake up first thing in the morning, they're gone all day, then they come back late at night. What's the point of all those amenities that you're paying for if you never actually enjoy those amenities? So what amenities are most important to you when you're staying? Do you want that nice pool? Do you want restaurants on site? What works best for you and your family? Transportation. How are you getting to and from the hotel? Now, all the hotels will typically have bus systems. All the ones around they have a monorail loop. If you want to go to Magic Kingdom, those are all going to be quite expensive. You've got all of those. And my favorite are the ones that are on the... I should have wrote this down. I'm blanking on some of this stuff. I do apologize. But the Skyline, if you want to take the Skyline from the hotels, from any of the hotels on that path, those are my favorite. So if I had to choose and I was staying on property, I would probably choose Art of Animation or Pop Century. I think those are the 2 better hotels to choose because you've got the Skyline right there. Now it can get quite a bit of weight, and I have seen people, instead of taking the Skyliner, they've actually ended up having to walk instead. But either walk or they've had to take or call an Uber because that Skyliner line right after close can get a couple hours wait, and it can also get shut down during bad weather. So that's something to consider when you're choosing your hotel. Does it have an elevator? I know this is weird, but some of the older properties, like I'm not sure, the Beach Club, and the ones that are only 2 or 3 stories tall, they may or may not have an elevator for you to go up to the other levels. So if you're going to book it and you're not making sure you're getting ground level, and you're a big person and you can't do stairs well, especially with a bunch of luggage, that's something that you may want to consider when you book it. Because I've gotten to hotels where I found out, now I always just ask for a ground room, and usually I plan that in advance enough that I don't have a problem. But if you can get that taken care of, but make sure you check on that before you book your hotel. Or make sure they're going to be able to get you on the ground floor. And then the other way you may want to look into doing your hotel is DVC points. Do you want to, if you're not a DVC member, you can actually rent DVC points. Now, you're not going to get the discount and certain other amenities that come with being a DVC member, but you can get the DVC points in order to use those for the events. or for your hotel, for your stay. Sorry, I'm getting a bunch of messages at this point too for things that do not matter right now. Let's go on to budgeting. What are the items that you probably want to consider while budgeting? Here, I'm not going to give you specific numbers because these vary greatly, but I want to go over the things that you want to make sure to consider. Transportation. How are you getting to Orlando? Are you driving, or are you going to fly? How are you getting to the hotel once you land? If you fly, there's some great different buses you can take, but those are per person. I think that's great if you are one or two people. If you've got a large family, though, probably a plus size like an Uber X or an Uber XL would probably be a better option for you than taking those buses that are, I think they range around $36 a person. It may be cheaper for kids. I'm not sure. Your hotel, again, we're talking vast difference. At the low end, you can probably plan on about $200 a night for most of your hotels. I've been able to get mine. My hotel typically will run around, again, this is the off-site properties. My hotel will typically run around $125, but I try to go during the slow times. If you go on the weekend, that's going to be a lot more expensive. I'll get to my schedule later, but I try not to stay and go on the weekends. Your tickets for the parks, we all know, are very expensive. They run some different deals. If you're going for a certain number of days, that all works out well, but your tickets are can get up there. Especially, are you going to do park hopper? How are you going to make that work? All of your food, the Disney dining plan is officially coming back next year. Are you the kind of person that is the best deal for you? Do you like doing the Disney? Do you want to have all of your budget in one where it's like, all right, all of this is paid for. I don't have to worry about anything else except a few snacks and souvenirs. Specialty tours. Are you going to want to do any specialty tours? I recommend, I haven't done a ton of them because some of them get pretty expensive, but there's one that I really love. It's Behind the Seeds, and that is the tour where you actually get to walk around in the land pavilion, and you get to see all the different tests and the things they're growing, and the how they do the different, they water the plants, how they take care of them, everything, and you even get to try, I think it's like a cucumber that they had. So that was really cool. I felt that was worth it at $35. It's about an hour-long tour. Are you going to get Genie Plus and individual lightning lanes? Those can be up to around $30 a person a day if you get them every day. And I think if you buy them beforehand, I think you have to buy them all at once. I'm not sure. I've never done that before, but it can get pretty expensive. And I'm also confusing. I know Disneyland, you can buy them all beforehand and you get them, and it was $25 per day, and I actually didn't even end up using it every day. Souvenirs. How much do you want to budget for souvenirs? Clothes. Do you need to buy special clothes for this trip so you can be comfortable or look cute or get your photos? Are you going to Disney bound? What's going to go into that budget? And then the last thing for this, I would say, is I would recommend create a Disney savings account. By the way, I have a list of 27 different ways to save in my Fat Tested Travel Guide. This is just a few of them. I'll go over a few more tomorrow. But one of them is create a Disney savings account. That way you have money that you know you're not touching that's going specifically to this. Maybe you want to get an extra. Some of you, you really want to go, but you don't have the funds. I drive for Uber, and a lot of that money has gone towards going to Disney. That was something I would really recommend to. I mean, I think it's worth spending a few extra hours a night or a couple weekends to go take on that extra little work. For me, again, I love Disney. This is what I enjoy doing, and if it allows you to go do those things that you love. So something for you to consider. But let's get into the savings. How can you actually save? That was for your budget. Let's get into the savings. Buy stuff beforehand. What can you buy beforehand before you go? Because it's going to be a lot cheaper. Once you are in the Disney bubble, everything is at least twice as expensive. I bought one of those little things that you put your phone in, and then I looked at it at Disney World, and I think I bought it for $7. It was $25. It wasn't specialty. There was no Mickey on it. It was not specialty branded. It was just, you ain't going nowhere else. You might as well, you got to buy it here. So buy as much as you can before you get to the parks. That includes fuel rods. These are your chargers. If you do not know what a fuel rod is, there's little stations at Disney World, and you can change these out and get new little fuel rods, and they're little chargers. They don't last too long. They're not great chargers, but they're fairly small, and you can put them in your pocket pretty easily. You can carry them around. They're not, and they'll give you a decent charge. But the good thing is, then you can just turn it in for free and get a brand new one that's another one that's fully charged. At the parks, they cost $30 each. If you go to Amazon, you can actually get those for, I believe, 2 for $30. By the way, some of this stuff, if you go to resources.fattestedtravel.com, I do have affiliate links. So if you want to support the channel, you can go to resources.fattestedtravel.com and use that there. I'll probably mention that a few more times, just so you know. Souvenirs. If you're taking someone with you and you know they're going to want some souvenirs, can you get them beforehand and then sneak them in? Like those little bubble wands, if you buy those online, that's going to be a lot cheaper. Buy it online and have your kid take it with you. And take it with you and just, oh, I got you this. We bought it today. They're not going to know. They are not going to know if you bought it beforehand and snuck it in and then gave it to them. You'll be okay. So buying those souvenirs. By the way, I enjoy going. I'm lucky enough in Houston. There's still a Disney outlet store. So I'll go to the Disney outlet store to buy a bunch of stuff. So I don't buy it in Disney, and usually it will be so much cheaper. Like I bought stuff at about 80% off before. And then if you're actually in Orlando, there are 2, I believe they're called character warehouses. So if you go to a character warehouse, that's the same thing where it's all discounted merch they didn't sell a ton of, but some of it's really good. I bought my first pair of Crocs there at that one, so I paid $20 to $25 for Disney Crocs instead of $100. So get those. Clothes, again, if you got shoes, buy them there. If you want your Disney bound stuff, buy it at home. If you want your shirts with Mickey and all on it, buy it beforehand. There's no need to wait to buy it in the parks. Sometimes they have very specialty cute merchandise that you can wait to buy in the parks, but typically you're going to be better off saving money if you buy it beforehand. Autograph books. If you're going to want to do an autograph book with your kid, think about that now. Buy it, or if you want to do it for yourself as an adult, I know some of you, and that's okay. Buy it beforehand. Buy it now online. You can buy a bunch of different cute ones on Etsy. You've got a lot more options. I saw some people do some really fun things with these where they'll get like a frame and they'll have all the characters sign around the frame, and they'll put their family photo from the trip in that. That's a fun idea. But it's a lot cheaper than buying it at the parks. Again, if you can avoid the weekends, go during a weekday trip. I'm a Sunday to Friday kind of guy. Those are the cheapest hotel nights. Those are the cheapest tickets. You don't have to worry about reservations to parks as much. If you're not an annual pass holder, pretty much you don't have to worry about them anyway. They're going away. It's about to be a thing of the past for the most part, but still something to consider. But that's something you can do. If you can go Sunday to Friday, you miss the crowds and you save money. Plan a day off. Can you do with something else besides go to the park? I love going to Disney Springs. It's the 5th park, as they call it. I also love going to the water parks. Now, the water parks, you do have to pay to get in, but they're usually about half the price or less than going to the other 4 parks. So if you go to, like, I took my friend, if you find somebody with an annual pass, I actually get at least when I bought it, I got a discount on that, which is not, I don't get a discount for regular park tickets, but I did for the water park tickets. So I don't know how that works exactly, but that's something to consider looking into. And skip Memory Maker. Memory Maker is a great value. I love it. I have it on my annual pass, but again, I'm paying $100 to go, 20 days. So that works out to $5 a day. If you're not going a ton, then it's not worth it. Especially if you can get other people to take some photos with you. I would recommend getting the, what do you call it? So one of the things you can actually do is just have them, because you can't take a selfie stick, so please do not try to take a selfie stick. I accidentally took one in. I didn't know it extended. Anyway, but you can hand them the photo, you can hand them your phone if they want to do it. This is purely up to the photographer's wishes. But a lot of people don't know this. You can hand them your phone and they can take a photo for you. You don't have to stand over to the side, getting in their way. They can actually take photos for you. Let me see if I can turn these notifications off. Why do they still going? I don't know how to do that right now. Sorry. But that's some way to handle that. So if you go into the parks, you can have them take the photos for you. If you still want, they can take them with your phone. Now, I love Memory Maker. I love PhotoPass. I think the PhotoPass folks are fantastic. But if you can save that $160 or whatever it actually costs you for your trip, then that's something to consider. Let's talk packing. What are some? I'm not going to go through, again, if you get the Fat Tested Travel Guide, I have the whole list there of my minimalist list and my, here's everything, please don't forget anything list. But for this, I want to go over just some basic things that I don't want you to forget if you're going to go, because again, if you get there, it's going to be a lot more expensive buying it at Disney. So these are some things specifically for the big folks that you want to get. Now, the first one is a water bottle. So you're going to want to drink a lot of water. I know you don't want to, but you need to drink a lot of water. This is what I carry most of the time. This is the Vapor. You can get this, again, at my resources, or you can just search for it on Amazon. It's very cheap. There's also ones that look like this, where they will just come out and you can put water in them like that, and then they'll collapse back. Those are great. Either one of those, either something like that you can easily carry. Some people like carrying their steel ones. I will tell you the benefit of both of this one, not as much. It's got that size head in there. This one does have, you can put a bunch of, I got this tip from Tinker Corey on TikTok when I talked to him about it. But if you see this one, that one has a large mouth to put so you can put ice in it to start your day off. That's why he told me he carried the other one, so a water bottle like this one works out well for that. Chargers, again, we already talked about the fuel rods. Get your fuel rods. You got to have your fuel rods. You can take I have a brick, but I don't want to carry it into Disney, even though it'll charge a ton of stuff. It weighs too much. I don't want to carry it around. Take some sort of distractions. Now, this could be for you, or it could be for your kids. So, do you want to take games? Do you want to take books? Do you want to take the iPad? Whatever it is, take it sometimes into the park, but make sure you pack it so you have it on your trip either way. I love to take a bunch of books with me because I pretend like I'm going to read them, and then I never do because I get airsick and I'm at the park all day. But I take them with me because it makes me feel better about myself. Comfortable shoes. I am amazed at the people that just think they can bring a new pair of shoes to Disney. Oh no. You do not wear new shoes to Disney. Has anybody made that mistake? Anybody? Yeah, you don't want to make that. You don't want to bring new shoes to Disney. You bring your best, most comfortable, worn out, ugly shoes. I was like, I gotta be cute. No, you do not. You want to be comfortable, especially walking, especially if you've got multiple days to do this. And I didn't put it in there. Aloe. Put some aloe in there in case you get sunburnt. I went on a trip to Maui once, and the first day we went and got very burnt, and I was miserable the rest of the time. So take some aloe, be careful, take some sunscreen, don't get burnt. And then, especially for the big folk, get that anti-chafing rub. Just something you can put between your legs. Make sure, put it up here, put it everywhere that might chafe. Put it under chin. We got to be careful. Some of us got those issues. But carry that, have that ready to go. Oh, and in the park, just to throw it out there, take some deodorant. Yeah, we smell you. You don't think we do, but we do, especially if we get trapped on a ride with you. We don't want that reputation, big folk. Take the deodorant. All right. Just remember, you are not an Instagram model. Some of you may be, but more than likely, 99% of you are not Instagram models. You do not need to go look at, I got to wear 10 outfits for the day. No. Also, by the way, for packing, one of the things you can do is actually get those things where it takes all the air out and puts it all, because we got bigger clothes, so it takes all the air out and you can fit more of your clothes in there. That's something you might want to consider getting for your travels as well. Now let's talk about travel agents. I would love to sit here and say I had because I see a lot of the Disney creators, they have sponsors to refer people to, and people think I'm a travel agent. I am not. I have on screen who I recommend as a travel agent just for general stuff. There's also people that do specific kinds of travel agent stuff. My friend Stephanie works specifically with autism families, so she does wonderful work there. And so if you want to talk to somebody like that, but if you're looking for a general, phenomenal travel agent, my friend William, travel agent Will on at least TikTok. I don't know where else he's at, but I recommend working with him. Here's the thing. I thought I knew everything because I have a big mouth. I went to Disneyland. I feel so stupid. So I've never bought a ticket to Disney World. I never have. I bought an annual pass because I knew if I did not buy an annual pass, I would not go, and I would not make sure to keep going. That was my guarantee. I have spent this much money. I'm going to make sure I'm cheap. I'm going to get as much out of it as possible. So I had never bought regular tickets. So I was going, and I had a great sponsor. I worked with Hojo Anaheim, Howard Johnson Anaheim, an amazing group. You can go to fattestedapproved.com and see their deal there. That's fattestedapproved.com. Again, that's also on my resources.fattestedtravel page. But so I didn't need a hotel, but I wanted to get tickets, and going through your travel agent, most of the time you're not going to necessarily save money for tickets. But the reason you go through a travel agent is because of all the other stuff they'll do. So you don't pay them, right? I didn't know this for a long time. You don't pay them. They get paid through pretty much the ticket sales, through Disney. And then they do all this other stuff for free. Sometimes they'll also get paid by the hotel. I think that's the two primary ways they get paid. Most of the times, they may have add-ons, and that's okay too. If they want to run their business like that, that is perfectly fine if they're doing extra stuff and they want you to pay for it. But I'll get up, I usually will just be up in the morning, at 6 a.m., and I'll see Will on because he is up right when they open the reservations for food. Because you have to book those 60 days out. And if I'm not, already up, I'm not going to get up at 6 a.m. to book my food, or I'm going to forget. So having somebody do that and book those reservations for you, if you've got problems, you've got somebody to call. And one of the things he did for me that I didn't know, I thought Park Hopper tickets were an extra cost per day, and apparently they are only an extra cost per week or for your entire trip. I was not going to get a Park Hopper pass if I had not gone to a travel agent and figured that out. So use a travel agent. Most of the time, it's absolutely free to you. Some of them may have some other stuff they will charge you for it. That's okay. That's how they, as far as I know, Will doesn't, unless it's very specialty circumstance. But contact him. There's his information if you want somebody general that works with a lot of Disney adults. And I can guarantee does great work. I get nothing out of this. I don't have a referral with him or anything. He's a friend. And there's a lot of other wonderful travel agents that follow me, and they're all free. If you're in the Fat Tested Travel group, they all, I allow everybody to post, to talk about, as long as they're part of the community and contributing. Everybody's able to work. I'm going to have a post that talks about weekly that just is like, here's all the travel agents if you want to talk to somebody that works in this space, right? So that's another good reason to join Fat Tested Travel group on Facebook. So next up, let's see. Here's my perfect schedule. I want to let you guys know, this may not work for you. This is how I like to go to Disney. This is what I do when I try to take a trip and can do this, right? I want to go in first thing on Sunday morning. I go first thing Sunday. I will probably drop off. I'll go to my hotel. I'll drop off my luggage. I'll usually get in around 9:30. I get up really early and travel. The first day is usually a tough day because I'm tired. But so what I'll do is I'll get up early. I'll go there. I'll drop off my luggage, and then I will go over to Animal Kingdom. I don't need as much time in Animal Kingdom most of the time, especially because I can't ride Flight of Passage yet. I'm coming for you, Flight of Passage. And then I'll spend my day at my favorite park, and it's just a great start, even though I'm a little tired, to my vacation, and I love going and hang out at Animal Kingdom. Again, it's the weekend, so that's usually the slowest park on the weekend, so that's the day to go to that. Monday, I'll do Epcot. Typically, I'll go hang out at Epcot, and then I will go on Tuesday to Magic Kingdom. Wednesday, I'll probably take a break. I've done 3 park days. I'm going to take a little bit of a rest. I will either hang out at the hotel if I'm at a nice hotel, which is rare. They're nice, but they're not like, oh, let's hang out at the hotel kind of a place. They're not resorts. I'll go to the water park, or I'll go to Disney Springs and hang out. By the way, they have a movie theater, a bowling alley, tons of restaurants. There's so much to do at Disney Springs. I think you definitely want to make time to go there. And then on Thursday is my Hollywood Studios day often. Friday is when I make up for something. For me, I like to chill, so I will go to Epcot. If you have kids, you may want to go back to Magic Kingdom because they have a ton of rides and you're not getting through all of them in one day most of the time, unless you just really are booking it and know what you're doing. And then, so I'll do that for the first part of the day, and then I'll have my flight late at night and get back like at 1 a.m. on Saturday morning. So that's my perfect schedule and how I like to do things. Now, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope I've delivered a ton of value. I'm about to get to flying while fat. So how you guys can fly while as a big person, what you can do to go and... because I know this is one of the main questions I get, and I want to talk about how I do it and how I'm always comfortable doing it. And but before that, I told you yesterday, I do want to make a very special offer to you guys because all the time, the one thing I get 10 questions a day. Can you go here? Can you go here? Can you go here? And I would love to. Even with 100,000 followers on TikTok and Facebook and 2,800 on YouTube, there's not really a ton of sponsors for that stuff, and I do wonder that if the parks themselves, like I think, like I speak very highly of any park I go to, because my goal isn't to change anything at the parks. My goal is to tell you what you can do at the parks, and here's some alternatives if you can't fit on the rides. But I do think a lot of the parks know they're not very fat friendly, and so they don't necessarily want me coming in to show that. Nobody said this. This is a presumption. I just want to say. So they're not sponsoring me to come out and do it. It's all coming out of my pocket. And I'm working, full time doing Uber to pay for that. And last year I went very much into debt. So I have started a Patreon to help pay for that. And if we can build that up so that this can be a member-led thing, that would be fantastic. That way, if you guys ask, hey, can you go to Dollywood? I was supposed to go last month, didn't have the funds, they didn't come through. I'll be able to be like, yes, here I can work out a schedule. We have enough money coming in. I can make it here at this date. Or I can go to Carowinds, or I can go to Kentucky Kingdom. Some of you guys want me to go to Europe and other things. And by the way, I would love to. And I know this is weird. It's like, can you help me travel? I'm like, yes. But this is a lot of work and a lot of expense. And I don't think people understand that while I love what I do, it's still work. There were a lot of times, especially I realized this at Disneyland, when I wanted to go hang out with people, but I had so much content to create, there was no way to actually do that. It's a job. It is something that actually takes a lot of effort and time. So I would like to invite you guys, if you believe in what I'm doing, I get so many messages, and I'm so blessed, and I try to make as much free as possible, but But I put all this out there, and you guys send me the most beautiful, amazing messages. I had one person say that I helped them get over certain really bad ideations that could have led to a lot of bad stuff. I'm trying to figure out how to say it on here. And it's a blessing. It is a massive blessing to be able to do this. I hope you guys appreciate that. I hope you enjoy that. But I also want to make sure to take care of myself, to value myself. I believe in confidence. I believe in getting paid for what you do. I believe that if you create value in the world, you should expect value back, and that's okay to ask. Do as much free and help as many people as possible, but never stop taking care of yourself. And I did that for a while by going into a lot of debt to do this. And I'm trying to make sure I don't continue to do that. So that's why I want to do this, to help bring in those incomes, to help fulfill those things that you guys can do. And that's why I'm starting the Patreon. If you can see there, I know it's a little small, especially for the TikTok, but if you go to patreon.com/fattestedtravel, you can find it there. And you can join there. I just launched it. I've never told anybody about it until this very moment. So you're not going to see anybody else there if you're there. I have 3 different levels. It's all after my favorite Pixar movie, Up. And that's Doug's Discoverers. That's $10 a month. If you join that, you're going to obviously have access to all of the walkthroughs I do, and you're going to get early access to all of the long-form walkthroughs of the parks. Usually that'll be at least a week in advance, sometimes much longer because of the filming schedule. It takes me a while to get around to actually posting it online. So you'll have early access to that if you would like to join at the Doug's Discover levels. If you join at the Carl's Companion level, which is $25 a month, you get access to not only all of the videos, but you also get access to all of the other stuff that I'm putting together. You get access to the Fat Tested Travel Guide and everything I've put in that. You get access to all of the, I'm putting together checklists and guides for all of the different parks that I go to Universal, to Busch Gardens. I'm having, I have to pay designers to create all that stuff. So I'm paying all of them, and instead of you having to buy it individually, everything that I do there, you'll get access to. And then for those of you that would like to, at the $100 level, that is the Senior Wilderness Explorer level. you'll get all of the stuff above, obviously, and you'll also get one big piece of merchandise every quarter. I'm very happy. I just started working. Some of you guys know Dapper Danielle. She just did the first design for my merch, and I'll show you guys that in a second. But you'll get that. Again, that's something you're like, hey, I love what you're doing. I know you're helping a lot of people. I want you to be able to go help more people. I'm going to join at this level. I can't say that you're getting all this extra stuff to do that. This is just, I believe in what you're doing, and I want you to keep helping people do it. So that's kind of the mindset behind that, and I just want to be forthright with that. And help you guys know which one to do. And if you join today, or if you join by the end of this challenge tomorrow night, you're going to get, you're going to be able to get a special sign-up bonus. I'm not going to offer this any other time because it's time intensive. But if you join at the $10 level a month, you'll get a free 15-minute planning consultation. That's where I will walk you through. We'll talk about anything you want. We can talk about Disney. We can talk about how to plan your trip, anything to that effect, and that's at the $10 a month level. At the $25 or $100 a month level, you'll get a 30-minute consultation, and then if you join at the $100 level, you'll also get the first piece of merch, which I'm very happy to show you guys. Is this? I don't know how well you can see it, but at the bottom, this is obviously if you guys know Dapper Danielle, you know her style. It's gorgeous. I love the Winnie the Pooh. We went back and forth on a few different designs. And then at the bottom, it says, happiness comes in all sizes. I absolutely love this piece. I'm so excited. This is the back of the shirt because they're walking forward. So when you see when you're passing people, they'll see this on the back, is that happiness comes in all sizes. I think it's a great way to brighten your day, to brighten people's around you. And you can buy this individually. I'll have that up. Again, that's at resources.fattestertravel.com. But this is the first real big piece of merch that I've done. And I love doing this because I was also able to, I paid Dapper Danielle, I paid, a very good rate, and was able to support an amazing artist that I love her work and that I'm very proud of her. I'm proud to call her an acquaintance of mine, and I want to keep being able to do this with artists like this. And so that's why I specifically went after, instead of going to Fiverr or something to create this, I went and asked her to do it. And I think she did a phenomenal job with the Happiness Comes in All Sizes video. Anyway, so thank you guys that decided to sign up. But let's get back to what you guys are actually here for, and that's the travel. Flying while fat. I did a whole video on this on YouTube, but the reason I'm able to travel, the reason I fly, is because I'm very blessed that the only thing I really recommend while flying is Southwest. This is who I recommend flying if you can. This is the most common place. They have plenty. Usually you'll have one around you. Again, it's domestic only. This is not going to work for you international travelers. But Southwest has something a lot of people don't know about, and that is their customer of size policy. This is a phenomenal thing they've had. It's not a recent thing. They've had it for at least, I believe, 30 years. So if you want to fly Southwest, what they will do is, if you're a big person and they consider that like you've got enough girth that you are past you're moving into the next seat person's space. That's how they determine whether whether you are a customer of size that fits this. And what they will actually allow you to do is you can beforehand, when you're purchasing your tickets, you can buy 1 to 2 extra seats, and then they will, at the end of your flight, will actually refund you that. So the way you do it is, say if you're traveling by yourself, then you, instead of buying 1 ticket, you would buy 2, and you would put your name in, and then after your middle name or in place of your middle name, if you don't have a middle name, you would put XS for extra seat. and then you'd purchase both of those tickets. You take your flight, and then when you get back, you would either call this number or go to Southwest Feedback, and you would get your a refund for that second ticket. Now, some of you are like, well, I don't really have the extra money to put down for that long to do that. So the other thing you can do is actually show up early. If you show up early to your flight, you can ask them, say, hey, listen, I'm a little worried about my size. Do you have an extra seat available? So if they're not sold out, they can do that, and they'll give you that extra seat. Now, again, if I would recommend, if you can, purchasing and then getting the refund, because it puts them in a better place. It puts you in a better place, but I understand that's not always possible. The other thing I love about Southwest is that there's no other fees. When I see whatever the cost is, I don't have to worry about baggage. I know I'm going to get 2 checked bags. I have the Chase credit card. And again, referral link, you know where it's at, resources.fattesttravel.com. But the the Chase credit card gives me a lot of points. I'm able to use those points for the flights. And the other thing you get with that extra seat policy is that you're able to have early boarding. So you actually pre-board with other folks. So that way you'll be the first one on. You'll know there's plenty of seats. You can probably get, if you want the front area, you can get the front area. You can sit there. You can lift the thing up. You can they'll give you a little extra ticket thing to say, put that there. And you actually, you'll be in your seat and ready to go for the flight. And if it's not that booked of a flight, that you can usually get the entire row depending on where you sit. So that's what I recommend to do while flying as a big person. Southwest they've had some issues lately, but they've always been the best airline for me. They're the airline I recommend. They're the airline it's the only one I fly. It really is the only one. If they don't have a flight somewhere, I have not taken it. Now I'm going to have to when I start doing more international flights. But that is I am a very loyal, but I'm also very blessed that they have a lot of flights from Houston to Orlando. So that's the one that has always worked best for me. It's the one I recommend to look into their customer size policy. If you don't remember all of this, just remember Southwest plus size customer. You can search that, and this whole thing, their website will be brought up, walk you right through how to do it. But all you have to do is purchase an extra seat, put XS in the middle, after your middle name. And if you got 2 people traveling with you, you can you'd buy 3 seats, and then you could have a seat between you two. And they will have up to 3 extra. You can actually buy up to 2 extra seats, so you actually have the whole row if you need to. I don't need to do that, but whatever you need to do, you do. And that's how I fly. I love Southwest. I think it's a phenomenal airline. I think it's a great policy. I love that they're retroactive, that they plan and help for big folks, unlike any of the other airlines do. So they have a very clear policy on that, and so I'm proud to support them and recommend them to anyone. And it's a Texas airline, so being here in Texas, I do appreciate them even more. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. I hope you appreciated that information. I know it's a little bit all over the place. We had a lot of stuff to cover. Some of you, like, I'm an expert in all of this. I knew all this. But thank you again. If you want to support anything, if you want to find out any of the resources.fattestedtravel.com, you can buy the new t-shirt there. I love this design so much. You can check out the other special offers. And again, that goes through tomorrow night. If you want to be one of my first Patreon members, before then you'll get a free 15 or 30 minutes travel call, and we can plan everything out for you. And if you want to talk to my friend William, again, that's not a referral. I get nothing out of that, but there's his information. I love working with Will. So thank you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow night, where we will talk about what to do on the ground as a plus size person. I'll hang out for a few minutes over on the TikTok live, but then I've got to get into the VIP, and I will see you guys soon.